Then in came the lordly wooers, and they sat them down in rows and chairs, and on high seats, and henchmen poured water on their hands, and maidservants piled wheaten bread by them in baskets, and pages crowned the bowls with drink. And they stretched forth their hands upon the good cheer and spread before them. Now when the wooers had put from them the desire of meat and drink, they minded them of other things, even of the song and dance, for these are the crown of the feast. And the henchman placed a beauteous lyre in the hands of Phemius, who was a minstrel to the wooers despite his will. Yea, and as he touched the lyre with his hands, he lifted up his voice in sweet songs. But Telemachus spake unto grey-eyed Athene, holding his head close to her, so that the others might not hear. Dear stranger, wilt thou of a truth be wroth at the word that I shall say? Yonder men verily care for such things as these, the lyre and song, lightly, as they that devour the livelihood of another without atonement, of that man whose white bones, it may be, lie wasting in the rain upon the mainland, or the billow rolls them in the brine. Were but these men to see him return to Ithaca, they would all pray rather for greater speed of foot than for gain of gold and raiment. But now he hath perished, even so, an evil doom, and for us is no comfort, no, not though any earthly men should say that he will come again. Gone is the day of his returning. But come, declare me this, and tell me all plainly. Who art thou of the sons of men, and whence? Where is thy city? Where are they that begat thee? Say, on what manner of ship didst thou come? And how did sailors bring thee to Ithaca? And who did they avow themselves to be? For in no wise do I deem that thou camest hither by land. And herein tell me true, that I may know for a surety whether thou art a newcomer, or whether thou art a guest of the house, seeing that many were the strangers that came to our home, for that he too had voyaged much among men. Okay, we're getting the first utterances of Telemachus in the story, talking to Athena. Clearly, he does not recognize Athena for Athena, because as he speaks and gets past his initial lament of the men gallivanting about, which we'll get to in a second, he asks her, who art thou, the sons of men, and whence? Where is thy city, and where are they that begat thee? So he wants to know who this person is. He clearly does not recognize Athena, which gives credence to that correction I made yesterday, that I think Athena is in disguise as Mentes, the captain of the Typhians. We don't know what Athena's reaction is going to be to this yet, but I want to speak a bit more to what's happening here a bit, and some of the information that comes out rather subtly in Telemachus's lament there. So even though he has brought Athena over to a quieter corner, the wooers, the men, the disruptors are so pervasive that they're spilling over into their area, and now, in addition to everything else, they are forcing someone named Phemius to play some music. Phemius, who was a minstrel in the wooers despite his will. So Phemius seems... Okay, hold on. I'm trying to think of a... there's the Ingmar Bergman film, The Seventh Seal, if you haven't seen it. One of my favorite movies, but there's this character in it that is an actor, and actors weren't seen as very well-respected people. They were wanderers. They went from city to city, town to town, village to village, hamlet to hamlet, trying to entertain people, get a meal, make a living. And there's this moment in there where the rowdy tavern folk start to make fun of the actor and force him to get up on the table and start performing for him, and he's embarrassed but afraid for his life because of he's obviously not a brawler, so he's trying to find his way through the situation. They're making him stand on his head, they're pouring drinks all over him. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from Phemius here, who, I mean, granted, we haven't seen him do anything yet, except just the idea that there's these rowdy folks who are trying to force someone weaker than them to entertain them. So they know that Phemius was a minstrel and is forcing this lyre in his hands in order to entertain them while they drink their grog. drink their wine and cavort around this tavern or home of Odysseus. So all of that kind of raucous stuff is going on, and Telemachus is saying to the stranger, he's like, I hope you don't mind. I just have to get this out. You seem like an honorable soul. Do you mind if I just say, like, these men around here do not give a shit about any of this stuff. They don't care about song, the integrity or the poetry of music. They basically are just consuming everything in their sight. They're parasites, and they have no idea that they are doing so on the backs of a man who is probably dying somewhere, just wasting away, or, his bones are being bleached by the sun on the mainland, or, he's at the bottom of a sea. They don't know that. But if that man, Odysseus, were to return, he says here that they would all pray for greater speed of foot than gain of gold and raiment. So, like, if they knew that Odysseus was going to return, they would book it out of there real quick. And I think I wanted to pull that out just because it shows the reverence that Telemachus has for his father, Odysseus, but also the air of respect, dignity, honor that Odysseus has amongst men. Ventures the question as to whether or not these men know that this is Odysseus's place. If they do and are assuming that Odysseus is dead on his return from Troy and never made it back home, it kind of makes them cowards in a way, because they're taking advantage of something that they wouldn't otherwise have done. So they are disrespecting the legacy, the name of Odysseus by consuming everything in their path that should be his. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for today. Join me here tomorrow as we enter into the halfway points of Book 1. Until then, okay, goodbye. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.